Amaka, a 22-year-old student at the University of Lagos, was used to the grind of lectures, tight budgets, and the endless hustle of city life. Her world was filled with noisy hostels, demanding professors, and a future clouded by uncertainty. So when Chitty's friend request popped up on Facebook, profile gleaming with photos of luxury cars, exotic vacations, and designer clothes, it felt like a window into a world she had only dreamed of. They chatted every evening, his words smooth and full of promise. Chitty claimed to be a businessman who admired her intelligence and beauty. "You deserve more than this," he once typed. "Let me show you a better life." Despite her best friend Ada's constant warnings, Amaka found herself increasingly drawn to him. He was charming, attentive, and made her feel seen. So when he invited her to visit him in Ikeja, she accepted. Chitty's messages painted a life so glamorous it felt like a fairy tale. He talked about his mansion in Ikeja, his frequent trips abroad, and the many business deals he was closing. Amaka, caught between curiosity and caution, hesitated. But the idea of luxury, excitement, and something different from her routine was too tempting to resist. She imagined herself sipping wine by the pool, wearing the clothes she'd only seen on Instagram influencers. Eventually, she agreed to meet him. "I'll be fine," she reassured Ada, sharing Chitty's address and promising to stay in touch throughout. On the day of the visit, Amaka dressed in her best clothes, applying her makeup with trembling excitement. She boarded a bus to Ikeja, her heart fluttering with a mix of thrill and nervousness. Upon arrival, Chitty welcomed her at a luxurious duplex with manicured lawns and marble floors. The house was eerily silent, but Amaka brushed off her unease. Chitty led her inside with a warm smile and offered her a glass of juice. She hesitated, but his reassuring tone calmed her. "Relax, you're safe here," he said. Moments after sipping the drink, her vision blurred. Her knees buckled, and everything faded to black. Amaka's eyes fluttered open to darkness. Her body ached. She was tied to a chair in a dimly lit room, the walls damp and reeking of rot. Panic surged through her as she struggled against the restraints. A door creaked open. Chitty stepped in, no longer charming, but cold and calculated. 3 unfamiliar men followed, their eyes void of mercy. "You shouldn't have come here," Chitty said flatly. "But don't worry. Your visit won't be in vain." Behind him, surgical tools lay on a table. A plastic sheet covered the floor. It was then Amaka understood the horrifying truth: she had fallen into the hands of organ harvesters. Back on campus, Ada grew restless. Amaka hadn't returned her calls or texts. As night fell and no word came, Ada's worry turned to dread. She called Uche, Amaka's older brother. "Something's wrong. She's not back, and she's not picking up." Together, they went to the police, but without solid proof of foul play, the officers dismissed their concerns as overreaction, advising them to wait for 24 hours before declaring her missing. Frustrated but determined, Ada showed Uche the address Amaka had shared and tracked her last phone location. "We can't wait. We have to act now," she insisted. Ada and Uche dove into Chitty's online profile. The deeper they looked, the more inconsistencies they found. His photos were traced to a popular influencer, and reverse searches revealed they were stolen. The business name he flaunted had no registered records. Worse still, messages from other girls hinted at similar patterns: lavish promises, followed by sudden disappearances. Fear gripped Ada's heart. "He's not who he says he is," she whispered. "And if we don't move fast, we may lose Amaka forever." With the police dragging their feet, Ada decided to act. She created a fake Facebook profile, choosing a picture of a model and crafting a backstory similar to Amaka's. She reached out to Chitty with flirtatious messages, hoping to lure him out. Posing as a vulnerable student looking for a wealthy boyfriend, Ada baited him. To her relief, and terror, he responded quickly. The trap was slowly being set. If he takes the bait, Ada said to Uche, we'll have enough to make the police move. Chidi arranged to meet Ada's fake persona at a popular lounge in Ikeja, as she insisted on not coming to his house, suggesting a public place instead. She coordinated with the police, who agreed to send undercover officers to the location. Ada disguised herself with makeup to look the persona on her Facebook profile, her heart pounding as she waited at the meeting spot. Chidi showed up, cool and confident, scanning the crowd. He approached her, his smile familiar but sinister. As soon as he suggested moving to a more private place, the officers intervened. He tried to remain calm, but the tension in his body betrayed him. As the officers closed in, Chidi's calm facade shattered. He bolted toward the exit, shoving chairs and customers aside. One officer tackled him just outside the lounge, slamming him to the ground. His phone flew from his pocket, clattering onto the pavement. Ada stood frozen, her hands shaking. "Where is Amaka?" she demanded. Inside the phone were damning messages, addresses, pictures of girls, and transactions with cryptic notes. The police finally realized they had stumbled upon something far more sinister than just a catfish case. Ada watched, her hands shaking, praying they weren't too late. At the station, Chidi initially denied everything. But the evidence spoke volumes. Photos of Amaka. Chat logs with buyers. GPS locations. Police recovered names, phone numbers, and access to dark web forums used by traffickers. Realizing the scale of the operation, the authorities began assembling a task force. At last, Amaka's disappearance was being taken seriously. Uche clutched his sister's photo, refusing to give up hope. "Hold on, Amaka. We're coming." With data from Chidi's phone, the police raided his house, a suburban house in Ikeja, Lagos. The scene inside was harrowing. Blood-stained floors, coolers packed with harvested organs. A large pot simmered ominously on the stove. In one corner, they found Amaka's lifeless body. Cold, pale, and barely recognizable. Her organs had been harvested. Uche collapsed in shock while Ada screamed in disbelief. The officers stood in stunned silence. They were too late. Chidi's arrest cracked open a massive organ trafficking ring spanning multiple states. Safe houses were raided, accomplices arrested, and terrified victims rescued. Many had stories eerily similar to Amaka's, lured online by charm and deception. The police worked round the clock, guided by files from Chidi's devices. Public outrage exploded as details emerged. Nigerians demanded action. The days of ignoring cybercrime were over. The media ran non-stop coverage. Pictures of the victims filled screens. Social media exploded with hashtags like #JusticeForAmaka and #StopOnlinePredators. Protests erupted outside police headquarters and government buildings. Parents warned their children. Schools hosted emergency seminars. The public outcry forced lawmakers to confront a growing epidemic, the unchecked danger of online predators. Amaka's family, along with relatives of other victims, appeared on national television. Tears streamed as they shared stories of loss, anger, and helplessness. Ada, once shy and reserved, became a powerful voice for change. If someone had listened sooner, she said during a televised interview, Amaka would still be alive today, more girls would be alive. "We can't let this happen again." Chidi and his accomplices faced a packed courtroom. Journalists, activists, and grieving families watched as prosecutors presented overwhelming evidence, screenshots, bank transfers, and survivor testimonies. Ada and Uche attended every session, determined to see justice served. The weight of Amaka's gruesome death hung heavy, but their resolve never wavered. Chidi's defense pleaded for leniency, claiming he was merely a pawn, but digital forensics painted a different story. He had coordinated pickups, handled payments, and silenced victims. His cruelty was methodical. Ada, though still traumatized, submitted a written statement. Her words moved the court: "I would have become his next victim." Amaka's life was cut short by this beast in human form. Many innocent girls were preyed upon on social media and murdered. Please don't let them be forgotten. After weeks of testimonies, the judge delivered the final ruling. Chitty and his core team were found guilty of multiple murders, kidnapping, and trafficking. They received life sentences without parole. The courtroom erupted in mixed emotions: relief, grief, and triumph. Justice had been served, but the scars remained. The case triggered sweeping reforms. New cybercrime units were formed. Social media platforms introduced stricter identity checks. Awareness campaigns flooded radio and TV. Universities included digital safety in their orientation programs. Amaka's story changed the system. Her suffering ignited a movement. Uche and Ada launched a foundation in Amaka's name. They toured schools, telling her story, warning students about the dangers of online strangers. Their slogan: "Think before you click." They partnered with NGOs, tech companies, and law enforcement. What began as grief transformed into purpose. Amaka's voice echoed through their work. Amaka's tragic story became a cautionary tale, a warning about the dangers of social media. Though justice was served, the scars remained. But through their advocacy, Uche and Ada ensured that no other young woman would fall into the same trap. Her story wasn't just about loss, but about the courage of those left behind. Through their resilience, Amaka's name would live on, not as a victim, but as a reason lives were saved.
If you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe to our channel for more African folktales and legends. Help us keep the traditions of our ancestors alive by sharing our content with your friends and family. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next story.